Hey, welcome World Entertainment, and Robert Picardo has lost his goddamn mind. Yeah, it's very sad to see. It really is, but you can see it here. Star Trek actor reveals concerns about franchise's future under Paramount with shot at Donald Trump. You're concerned about the franchise being under the company who's always had the franchise that you fucking worked with. It gets worse. How he describes what he thinks the future of Star Trek is and what he thinks Star Trek is just shows you that this guy actually has lost touch with reality. That Orange Man Bad has warped this guy's actual outlook of the world and life. And what he thinks Star Trek is now and what it has to always be just tells you everything you need to know. Robert, the show is make-believe. It's set in space, not the real world. We don't actually have these starships. We don't actually have these little communicators. We don't have transporter technology. It's all make-believe, buddy. It's make-believe. But you're trying to force it into the real world. You'll see what I mean when we read this article. Again, this is incredibly sad to see how this guy has just... He's become Star Trek's Mark Hamill. He really has. Let's dive into this. So, Robert Picardo has played the Doctor, an emergency medical hologram, since Star Trek Voyager launched in 1995. Now, the veteran actor has shared his worries about the future of the iconic sci-fi franchise amid continued uncertainty surrounding what's next for Star Trek on Paramount Plus and beyond. As things stand, Star Trek Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Starfleet Academy are the only live-action television series currently in production, with both shows confirmed to wrap up in 2027 with their final seasons. Picardo, who reprises the role of the Doctor in Starfleet Academy, weighed in on plans for the franchise during an appearance at SpaceCon 2026. With no small-screen Star Trek projects announced beyond those series, the actor admitted that he has concerns about whether the people currently overseeing Paramount fully understand what makes Gene Roddenberry's universe so unique. The irony of hearing him say this, of hearing Robert Picardo say, well, I hope Paramount understands what Gene Roddenberry's vision is. You're about to see how he hasn't a fucking clue what Gene Roddenberry's vision was. Brace yourselves for this lunatic's statement. So he's told fans, I'm a little concerned about Star Trek moving forward because we are criticised for having too much diversity and inclusion, and that's a core value of Star Trek. I don't know how you make Star Trek without it. That's the first problem we have. But gets worse. The actor went on to emphasise that the franchise's hopeful and cooperative outlook should remain intact regardless of whatever direction the next era of Star Trek ultimately takes. As of now, it sounds like there are plans to bring the property back to theatres. But he also said this, and this is where you realise he's truly lost it. Orange Man Bad has broken this man. I'm hopeful that whatever the next Star Trek is, and I know there's going to be a hiatus, that it keeps those values. That it always is the United Nations in space, not America first in space. And that it remains cooperative. It's a vision of cooperation between spacefaring planets in the future. And it's not, let's go out and conquer the planets of Venezuela, Iran, Greenland, and Cuba. I'm sorry. What? What?
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
The man is fucking broken. So let's dive into what he said to start with. That it's about diversity and inclusion. Problem here, Robert, is Star Trek is about exploration. It's about humanity bettering themselves. and how far humanity was able to come together and get out there. It's never been just about diversity and inclusion. No, there were elements that were always in there, but they were never in there where it was the focus of everything. People were on that ship. Oh look, there's a black person. Nobody batted an eyelid. Oh look, there's a Japanese person. Nobody batted an eyelid. And more importantly, oh look, there's a shit ton of aliens walking around the ship. And nobody batted an eyelid. Why? Because we had moved beyond that shit. What has Alex Kurtzman done with Star Trek? Well, he's made it about the message. So it's only about diversity and inclusion. Except they fucking forget to tell you all the exclusion that they do. Because white folk are excluded. In particular, straight white men. Can't have a straight white man on that show. No. Just look at the cast of Starfleet Academy. Throw a rock and see if you can hit the white guy. Cause holy shit, you'll struggle to do. And they eventually brought one in. What did they do? They killed him off. Sure, he went out like an actual hero. He actually did his job and sacrificed himself. But they still killed off the white man. So this idea that it has to be about diversity and inclusion, that is not what Star Trek has been about. I'm sorry. Everyone will always go, oh yes it was, it's always been woke and all that. Shut the fuck up, you window lickers. You really are that stupid that you can't actually understand that it was about exploration, that it was about humans exploring space, that they managed to make themselves so better than what they were previously that they could go out into the cosmos and explore together. And that's the key point, together. Nothing in Kurtzman Trek says it's all about cooperation. So, go back and watch Star Trek Discovery. Do it to your own detriment, but go back and watch it and see if Michael Burnham ever had dialogue with one of the villains of the show, because that's the other thing. There was never villains. There was antagonists, never villains. But go back and watch her and see if she ever tried a diplomatic route to solving an issue, because she just straight up murdered fucking everyone. I still will always remember in season 3 of Discovery when she breaks that guy Booker or whatever the fuck he was called out of the prison, and it was the Running Man rip-off episode, and she comes in on his ship. She must have executed at least 500 people in one go. It was like, wow. And yet he's talking about, oh, it's not about conquering planets, Venezuela and Iran and Greenland, blah blah blah. And yet all they ever do is show how it's me in the shows. It's all about me. Oh, my trauma, my this, my that. No, Star Trek has always been about working together. Kirk never was the guy who was just figuring out everything on his own. He had everyone else around him to help him. Same with Kirk. Same with Sisko. All of these characters. If Data had an issue, he'd go to Geordi. Or Beverly Crusher sometimes. You know, it was all these weird little outlets. You know, 7 and 9 would go to the Doctor. All of this stuff. But he thinks all of these shows where it's about their own trauma. Like the Doctor refused to educate a student because of his trauma from over 1,000 years ago. You know, the trauma that by the end of that episode when he had this holographic daughter die, he was over it by the end of the episode. Didn't shed a tear, did nothing. He was just like, well, that's the end of that program, and was never spoken of again. But all of a sudden, a fucking 1,000 years later, and here's this retarded hologram running around going, my name is da. All of a sudden the Doctor's like, oh no, I can't get close to these people, it'll break my heart and blah blah blah. Shut the fuck up, dude. And to say Starfleet, the United Federation of Planets, is the United Nations in space, you couldn't be more wrong, dude. You absolutely could not be more wrong. You do realise that the UN doesn't have every country in the world in it. It only has a handful. Doesn't have everyone in it. Ireland, for starters, we're not a part of the UN. We're not in the United Nations. So, are we supposed to be excluded then from the United Federation of Planets? Hey, they can't be in here because they didn't sign up to the UN. What has happened to these fucking actors. How has this one dude that's in power for 4 years broken these people that much that they're like, hey, the studio I've worked for since 1995 and that I've just come back and had no problem working under that very regime, aka David Ellison and stuff, now all of a sudden I have a fucking issue with. Like, this is like when you get these retards who like 40 years later turn around and go, a director told me to look thin once. It's like, and? Yeah, but he told me to suck in my tummy. Did you do it? Well, yeah. Then shut the fuck up. It's fucking Hollywood, man. You're making entertainment. You're making make-believe. The future of Star Trek, the reason he's concerned is because they are absolutely convinced that Paramount is now MAGA Studios. Again, David Ellison was in charge when Starfleet Academy was coming out, before it even got made. And guess what? Robert Picardo had no problem signing up to it and taking the check. So, what's he concerned about? Oh, he's concerned that Star Trek might actually return to being Star Trek. You know, the focus isn't your identity and your sexuality, because that's not what Star Trek ever was. It was never about, oh look, black people and brown people and Asian people and alien people. Oh look, he's gay and he's non-binary and all this bullshit. That's never what Star Trek has been about, ever. And the fact that that is what you think it needs to be shows you are the one that has no clue what Gene Roddenberry's actual vision was. Go and look at Gene Roddenberry's interviews. It's all you have to do. It's so easy. It's on YouTube. But what do you guys think? Do you think this guy has just absolutely lost the plot? He has become Star Trek's Mark Hamill. Let me know what you think. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and hit that hype button and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.